Hey, now we're preparing for our annual Canadian Thanksgiving camping trip, hence like the fresh pumpkin pies in the background there and whatnot. And every year when we go with our friends, we try to do some kind of different kind of cool turkey. This year I have just picked up a new portable smoker. It's Pit Boss 150 PPS. Really excited to try out a smoked turkey. Now, because I picked up it's right down here, it's a 15-pound turkey, and it is too big to just fit normally inside that smoker. I'm going to break it up into its primal parts. We're going to dry brine it, and then we're going to smoke it. So let's do that. So as you can see, I've got my turkey here. I've got my semi-flex boning knife. We're going to break this up. Now, one of the nice things about actually breaking this into its parts and separating it from the carcass and all of that is that it's going to afford me the opportunity to actually be able to make a gravy here and take it along. If we were smoking this entire turkey, we wouldn't be able to have a gravy, and then with our potatoes and even just on the bird itself, we wouldn't be able to have a gravy. But this gets around that because we're going to have a bunch of the bones here and some of the meat and whatnot for that. So big bonus there. So I've done a lot of like smoked chicken and other poultry and stuff over the years. I haven't done a smoked turkey like this ever, broken up into the parts. So I'm excited about that. This is actually kind of inspired by my sister-in-law, who quite a few years ago for Christmas dinner at their house had a smoked turkey. I have to admit that when I first heard that that's what her plan was, a very traditional roasted turkey guy at the time, I was like, what is this? There's not going to be gravy or anything like that. And then I decided that I absolutely loved the smoked turkey. So it was actually a pretty big win. So really grateful that we were introduced to that. That's also why when I'm doing this, I'm really excited to actually make a gravy that will go with the mashed potatoes and whatnot, because for me, it just doesn't feel like a Thanksgiving turkey without. So I'm starting to get some of this all separated here. I'm just going to take my breasts, the turkey's breasts, and get those off into there. I'm also just going to separate the drumsticks and the thighs here. All right, so I've got my thighs, we've got our drumsticks. Let's deal with these wings. All right, and we gotta have our wings. Now I've got the rest of the carcass. I do have a bag with little giblets in it. We've got the neck. All of that's going to go in a crock pot so that we can make that gravy. Furthermore, with that gravy, we've got some carrots, onions, celery. There's some garlic in here. It's all sauteing up. It's going to be added to the crock pot to make a nice flavorful gravy. So sort of a good starting point for salinity for these dry brines with these turkeys would be about a tablespoon for every 4 pounds of turkey. Now I weighed out those parts that I wound up removing, and we came in at just over 9 pounds. So that's what I'm going with here as the basis for this. You can go with a little bit more salt or a little bit less salt, sort of depending on what you like, but I'm hoping that that 1 for every 4 is going to be sort of a good range for what my family likes. So we're starting off here. We've got 2 tablespoons plus a teaspoon of kosher salt, a heaping tablespoon of paprika, a heaping tablespoon of garlic powder. I'm going with a teaspoon of chive powder that I made here with some chives. Actually, I guess we're going to call that a heaping teaspoon. You could go with a onion powder if you like. I just happen to have this on hand, and I sort of almost kind of prefer that flavor that you get with the chives over the onions. And I've got a teaspoon here of some dried thyme that I dehydrated out of my garden. And just to finish off a little sweetness, I've got a tablespoon here of some sort of sugar in the raw brown sugar there. I'm just going to mix this up. You could use any sort of, in addition to that salt, just your favorite rub would work. I just have a lot of these ingredients kicking around, so I figured I would make it from scratch. You can hear those vegetables sizzling away on the stovetop there. It's pretty exciting. Okay, we've got a rub. Let's get this on the meat. So I'm just using a really nice deep meat tub here, and I'm going to be sprinkling on this rub. I'm going to toss them around in here and just try to mainly evenly distribute that all around the turkey. Now, if I was doing this turkey whole or even spatchcocking it or something like that, I'd be a little bit more concerned about getting some of this brine seasoning underneath the breast skin. However, because this is off of the rib cage and all this meat is exposed here, we're totally good like that. So I'm just going to play around here with this and then get it into a bag. Now, in the interest of portability and making sure I don't make a mess, I've got a vacuum seal bag here that I did double seal along the bottom, and I'm just going to not probably not quite vacuum seal it, but definitely seal it up. So here we are. I double sealed that top end there as well. I didn't completely vacuum this. That wasn't the point here. I just want to keep this thing nice and tight. This is better than using zipper lock bags or something like that, because I find that they do sometimes tend to leak. And by leaving a little bit of air in here, it gives me the opportunity to kind of maneuver things around, manipulate them a little bit, just to make sure that everything is brining relatively evenly. So in the fridge with you, and then we're going camping. So I did take the rest of this turkey and I got it into the oven at 425, roasted it up for about half an hour just to get some caramelization going on there. And I'm gonna add my veg. Well, here we are. Thanksgiving camping out in Kananaskis country. And we've got Pit Boss 150 PPS. It's currently rocking at 350. I'm gonna turn that down probably to 300 here shortly after we get the turkey on. So it's time to do that. All right, we're gonna find a way to make this work. I'm leaving that top rack in here. These turkey breasts are huge. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of slide you over and over here. We already had this thing hot because we were doing up some smoked jalapeno poppers.
They were delightful.
Absolutely delightful.
I think you may have found a way. You may have found a way.
I think I might have. Ta-da! 15-pound turkey on this little tailgate Pit Boss smoker. Now just watch, there's no way it'll get hot enough.
All those years playing Tetris,
yep.
Not lost.
There we are.
Ta-da! Way to go, buddy.
Let's close her up. I also have my Lesyao temperature probes here. And they plug in very nicely. Only one of them at a time in here, but I'm going to track first of all the breast, and then I can just switch this out and see how that thigh is doing. 1 hour in here, still sitting at 300. Let's see, those wings are getting a little bit more smoke. So right now we've crossed over 100 degrees internal temperature. That's Fahrenheit on the breast. We're a little bit behind that on that thigh, but it's got the bone in there, so that's understandable. I'm gonna let this keep cooking. You're just shy of 2 hours here. Things are starting to look beautiful. Our internal temperature on that breast is just 123. I'm going to actually go in here with my tongs and just sort of rearrange things, but I need both hands for that, so let's do it. After a couple of hours, we are just over 100 degrees here in our breast and about 10 degrees hotter in the thigh. I'm just going to increase the temperature to 350 and let it keep cooking. The excitement is real. We're 3 hours and 15 minutes in, and everything here is basically ready. The one slightly larger breast is just a little bit behind, but we are going to pull off everything else. We've got these drumsticks. Oh my goodness. We've got kind of these little tenders. Let's pull those off like that. I think they're going to be going into the turkey chili tomorrow. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Oh, a drumstick. Just kind of hanging out in the back. Oh my. We'll take off this one here. This hit 160 and all the dark meat actually was rocking up towards 180, so that's perfect. So I'm going to pull this off. We'll give that larger breast a little bit more time. We needed a bigger pan. Here we go. Nice. Woo! We've rested for several minutes. Got to dig out this breast and get her sliced up. Okay, so let us see how. Woo! Look at that. That's looking moist. Delightful. Lots of juices going on. All right, time for the pass by. Classic Thanksgiving dish. Wink, wink. We have pierogies and sausage. We've got a mushroom gravy here. We have some kind of rustic looking Brussels sprouts, squash, pomegranate seeds, a little garnish there. We've got what?
Patyshke.
There we go. Look at those.
Little baked pierogi.
Fun buns. And we've got some stuffing, a little bit of mashed potatoes for the traditionalists. Ooh, yes. A little gravy.
Turkey gravy.
All right. For the turkey. And then
Nalesnike. Little Ukrainian crepes, little rolls of glory.
Delightful. All right, you didn't get to watch me eat that because it was not pretty. Not pretty. It was a massacre. The food got massacred. and it was incredibly delicious. I am ready to pass out now. Way too much turkey, way too many carbs with the pierogies and all that fantastic stuff. So we'll check in later. But I did manage to get the pit boss all nicely cleaned up. That is a victory. Okay, I'm back home and I have fully recovered from that turkey coma, which was incredibly real. But you know what else was real? The amazing flavor of that turkey. Everything was fantastic. The salinity was bang on. That was what we really prefer. There was just enough saltiness. Wasn't over the top. I think if there had been more, it would have been probably a little much for us, but people kind of differ in how they prefer those things. The seasonings were awesome. They're also really variable. If you like different flavors, you can totally mix that up. It's all good. But either way, they paired super well with the applewood smoke coming out of those pellets was just really delightful. And speaking of that Pit Boss 150 PPS, what a beast. Awesome for taking on the road, camping, tailgating, doing all that kind of stuff. If you have a smaller family, but I mean, do I even call that a smaller family? We fed 2 families with that one smoker. But if you just are not needing a massive smoker, that thing worked incredibly, incredibly well. Also, by using that whole turkey and breaking it into the parts, we had the extra bits, the carcass, the neck, that fun stuff that we used to make that gravy, roasted that up, sauteed the veg, let it steep overnight with some water in it, blended it all up after we strained that stuff out. You saw how delicious that looked. Fantastic. So you can have the smoked turkey and have the mashed potato and gravy lovers. Everybody's happy and lots of flavor. So either way, give it a whirl. If you have not made smoked turkey, the dry brine and then smoke method worked incredibly well. Give it a whirl. If you try it, let me know. And either way, till next time, keep your turkeys at 11.